What's up, guys? It's Ryan with the MXG YouTube channel again, and I'm back today with something a little bit different than what you might be expecting. It's more dirt bike news, but it's not KTM related. That's right, you guys know, if you've been around for very long, that before I moved over to KTM, I was on Kawi for 15 straight years. I'd ridden nothing but Kawi seriously since my first 2001 KX125 when I first started riding dirt bikes. And still to this day, I own way more Kawasaki's than KTM's. And I ride a Kawasaki's my off-road bike. I have a lot of love for the brand. One of my best friends is Adam Cincerillo's mechanic over there. So I still have a lot of ties with the brand and a lot of love and respect for the brand. So that's what we're going to talk about today. The spy photos from the new 2023 KX450F. You know, all the manufacturers are kind of on a 3 to 4 year cycle depending on what's going on. KTM was 16, 17, 18, and then was 19 to 22, and they've got a new 23, and Kawasaki was the same, 16, 17, 18, 19 to 22, and they've got a 23. So pretty excited. I did finally get to test ride the 19 to 22 generation Kawi, and I liked it, but I'll be honest, I didn't like it as much as I liked the 16 to 18. So I don't know. Let's see what they got coming for 2023. We're going to get in. I'm going to show you some pictures, and we're going to pick out some of the obvious changes we can see already. But before we start that, got to plug you guys. There's two ways you can support this channel. One, you can get stuff like this from AOMC. This is the Liat 9.5 helmet. All the Liat stuff and the other brands are available in AOMC.mx. So you support AOMC, you're supporting me. Secondly, you can hit the blue join button down at the bottom, join my race team, and you get some perks like a cool badge beside your name that only race team members get. All right, let's get into it. So this just dropped about 3 days ago, and the pictures originally dropped on dirtbiketest.com. So shout out to those guys. There were photos and an article done by Scott Hoffman with dirtbiketest.com. So these photos, they're not going to tell all because they are photos of the bike at the Japanese MX National, where they don't have the same kind of rules we do, so they can pretty much run whatever they want, like the GPs. And but we can kind of get an idea of the big changes on the bike, and we tend to see some pretty trick stuff. So from this first picture, you can't tell a whole lot because they've masked the bike with the old plastic. That's right, this will not be the plastic that's on the 2023. It will be something new, but they put this on there just to make it not stand out, so we don't see the new body yet. But the engine's a dead giveaway, guys. Yeah, so if we scroll down to the first photo of the engine, we see it's drastically different. First of all, you can see everything's at more of a downdraft. It has more of a downdraft intake, kind of like the Honda CRF 450R had. Without seeing inside the head, it's hard to tell, but we still assume that it is a finger follower style valve train, but definitely with updated intake and exhaust angles. So it's got a thin valve cover this year with the half moon rubber like grommet things to seal instead of the huge head cover like we saw for 19 to 22. The cases and the engine covers look really close to the 19 to 22. So this might not be a set the world on fire brand new engine from the ground up. It's hard to say. The bike's already pretty good. KTM kind of did the same. Their bottom end looks very similar to the old generation. So the frame is where I see some updates really quick. The linkage and mounting positions have been changed. The subframe really sticks out because the subframe now mounts way up higher on the frame, kind of like the Yamahas do. The swing arm looks to be updated. It looks like it might taper a little differently than the last generation. It's going to change the flex, how the rear wheel feels. The shock looks to be mounted lower. it looks like the shock and the linkage together are sitting a little lower, and it might be a shorter shock like the KTM got, which would make room for an overhead intake track like the Honda 450 had. It's a very cool idea, but I will tell you, I've not got to work on the new Honda 450, but the 17 to 20, it was just a pain to take that shock off, and you had the intake all in your way, and it was just different. Definitely changes in electronics. There's a different looking engine shutoff switch that has multiple buttons on it. This is probably like the KTM, and it's for maps, launch control, maybe even a traction control, which would be new for Kawi. So it's pretty cool. There are some things we can notice that are unique to this bike. You can see the engine mount. You can see it has different bolt holes, and this is probably just because they've used this bike in the testing phase to figure out what works best. Once they figure that out, I'm sure the production model will not have that. This bike has an O2 sensor. More than likely, a production bike will not have that. This bike has Showa kit suspension and X-Trig clamps, and that's another big question. We don't know if the 2023 will come with Showa or the KYB that the SR came with this year. Upon closer inspection, they blocked off the view of the shock tower and the shock itself, probably because if we could see that shock, we would probably know more about what it's going to come with fork-wise for the production model. But we know for sure Kawi has a new bike in the works for this year. I was kind of skeptical about whether all this would happen with COVID and supply chain problems. I thought it was very realistic that some of these manufacturers would just go another year on their current generations. But Kawi obviously has a new 450 coming, and KTM made at least 4 new motorcycles this year for us with the 250, 450, 125, and 252 strokes. So these manufacturers are obviously putting in the works and not letting themselves be affected too much by all the supply chain issues. Lastly, it's notable to let you guys know that Kawi is already offering rebates on their 450s on the floor, which is surprising. There has been generally a shortage of bikes, especially KTMs. I haven't seen any KTM motocross or dirt bike related rebates in a couple years because of the general shortage. But Kawi's got 2022 450s with a rebate, and this only confirms that we're getting a new 2022 KX450. Now, when can we expect the official release? We would expect the launch in May normally. Bike could arrive at dealerships as early as late June, early July. If there are issues from the COOF that we don't know about, then this bike could come as late as this fall. But it looks like it will be here, so that's exciting if you're a Kawi guy. All right, guys, that's all I got for you today, but I will keep you posted as soon as launch happens, as soon as I hear anything else about any of these brands. One-stop shop for dirt bike news. So thanks so much, and I'll see you all in the next video.